All right, hello and welcome to the 2024 Sun Conference Football Media Day. My name is Josh Blackmore, and we're excited to be joined by head coach Eric Potochney and senior offensive lineman Kirk Abbott. So, Coach, as an alumnus of Weber International, talk to us about how much it's meant for you to come back to your roots and completely transform this place for the better.
Well, it's been a process for sure. But no, I mean, I think the amount of pride that I have for the university and and trying to instill that into our players, about where the program has come from and to, where we're trying to get to. Again, we definitely have a lot of pride in what we're trying to do, and we're excited about the future. And this is something that not only for our current players, but also for past players, for past students. We want to make this program something special for them to be proud of.
So, moving on to you, Kirk. So, talk to me about how much this program has changed over the last 3 years that you've been here at Weber.
Oh man, I mean for one, the people, like the energy in the locker room is way different than it's ever been, even from last year to this year. But just new things going up every year, a new cabana popping up, another one popping up, bleachers are finally going up. Everything's just looking and going in the right direction. It's pretty cool to see it from 3 or 4 years ago when I visited to where it is now. It's awesome.
So, Coach, last year's record may indicate that you guys had a little bit of a down year, but when you really look at the box scores, there was a lot of close games, a lot of one-possession games. So, what has been kind of the point of emphasis this offseason to kind of get over that hump?
Well, I mean, and truthfully, you're right. We did lose some close games last year. We actually played a lot of young guys last year, and we were real competitive. For 3 quarters, and might not been able to finish the fourth, or we lost in overtime to Cumberland. Not being able to finish that one, so we could have easily been 6-4, 7-3 team. At worst, and losing some of those close games. So I think the mindset is about more attention to detail. And being able to focus and go finish. And hopefully with some better leadership, and that's kind of made a lot of progress. And some of those guys that were freshmen last year, or might be sophomores, or some of those guys that were sophomores last year are now juniors. And be able to transition those guys, and then add in some key pieces with some transfers and some other key freshmen. And just having this stability of our core with our leadership council and the guys that are pulling our program in the right direction. So a lot of those things are key pieces, but it's ultimately going to be about attention to detail and the mindset of our team and how we can go finish.
So, Kirk, you recently made the move to center. So, how much did playing with Elijah Smith, a lot of us know him as Smitty, the last couple of years help you make that transition?
He helps a lot. He's very vocal, and that was one thing that I really needed to work on, because I'm just a quiet kind of do everything right as best as I can, but I'm not really yelling at people and getting behind them. But playing center, you have to be kind of the most vocal person on the offensive line. So that's been a big transition, but seeing how Smitty kind of came into his own when he got moved to center, it's been pretty helpful.
Awesome. So, Coach, some returners, some newcomers that you just mentioned, who has kind of stood out, like, in the off season, in the spring, in the summer, and then now that you're in the fall camp, who's kind of, stood out to you, Coach?
I mean, we've had quite a few guys, to be honest with you. I think the biggest thing is, and I talked to the team about this before we had our scrimmage on Saturday, is we voted for our team captains on Saturday before our scrimmage, during pregame meal. And the amount of votes that were spread across the team, was kind of eye-opening in the effect that, in the past we've had, 4 or 5 guys that kind of just ran away with all the votes, and had the most out of everybody. And this year we had, it was spread. It kind of tells us that we do have some guys that are stepping up to be leaders, that are stepping up to be captains, just from that side. And it has nothing to do with even, just, making plays on Saturdays or any of those things. So we've had some key guys step up to, in leadership roles. But we're excited about, some of the weapons that we got in. We've got some, in addition to, Kirk's been a good player for us, and we have a couple other guys that are returning on the offensive line. And then we've added some transfers as well up front, and some good freshmen. We got a battle between three different quarterbacks right now. They all have, different tools in the shed, so to speak, that they can use. We've got some length at receiver now. With having Say back and healthy, and adding Keon Dickens into the mix, and other couple longer freshman receiver guys, and then a couple of tight ends that are now a year older in the program, and then we've got 3 or 4 really good backs. With Terry Weems and Scarborough and Mathis. I mean, them guys can run, and we returned quite a few guys up front on the D line. And looking for some big things from those guys. And, probably the biggest leader over there is Tyron Washington. Then we've got, Big Joe. Then we got, the Hill twins who are back. And, we've got KK Morrell, back at linebacker for us. And Jalen Williams is a senior linebacker. So I think we'll be okay in the box. We've got some things to kind of figure out secondary wise, and challenge those guys and moving some things around. But I think we've got a good group, and our special teams side of it too. Bringing back, Van Fleet, our kicker. He can boom the ball, and Jackson is our Rivera, our punter now. So he's coming along pretty well. He's making some progress. So I think we have some good key pieces. Just got to stay healthy and keep working.
So, Kirk, how much has it meant to you to get work with Coach Sharaf and Coach Scales this year throughout, the offseason and throughout camp thus far?
It's actually great to have a coach, an offensive line coach, for 2 semesters in a row. That's been pretty good. We've been fluctuating kind of my whole time here, but it's awesome to, lay a foundation in the spring and then be able to build on it now in the fall, and just learning the techniques and being able to apply them to the plays. And he's more of he called himself a why guy. So like being able to explain why my footwork is like this on a certain play has been really helpful, to even just break down like why I'm doing what I'm doing.
So, Coach, you're undefeated in your career as a head coach against Warner. Does that game mean a little something extra to your program? Does it give you a little, wake up on that Saturday, you got to, a little bit more energy? What does that mean to be undefeated against those guys, and what does it mean to play that team every year?
I mean, it's exciting to be in any rivalry. It's always a good thing to have in any season. But for us, I mean, football wise, and every sport really, you don't want to lose to the team across the lake. And for us, football wise, it's definitely a huge rivalry. It's something that, even previous alum have talked about, that we wish they had a football team, back when, we first started football and all those things, where it could have been even a longer rivalry. But, we, to be honest with you, even in our coaches' offices, we're not allowed to have blue markers. There's nothing blue that's allowed in our offices. It's only green and black. And, and nobody on our team is allowed to wear blue for that reason. So we prep for it all year long, and it's a game that we're not going to lose.
To finish things up, Kirk, talk to me. It's an honor. A coach brought you on here. There's a lot of guys to pick from. He decided to go with you. So you're allowed to be a little selfish here when we're talking about you, man. So talk to me about some goals that you have, and then we can get a little bit about your team. But for this year, talk to me something that you like to accomplish this year personally, and then something with the team.
All conference. That's kind of been something I've been chasing since I started at Weber. I feel like I play the hardest, I work the hardest, and I think that if I keep doing that, then I should be able to put my name on that little plaque in the coach's office.